rely on what I hate, I think. Let's go. Living my life from a destiny. It's time to celebrate. Sit back and ventilate, just like going on a dinner date. Whoa, like an airplane taking off with this hit. Yo, the speed is real lit. I hope I can make you visualize and feel this. They send me back to a time when MCs spar with those lines, when music was sparkling there in the borderline. I'ma shine without even trying because of the get together way I put it together. Shoot for the look like you was online. Tongue wrestling about to lose your grip. They go on to get you, but you better not slip. Check it, but I don't even have no time for that. I was false because I was put on this plan for a purpose. So why even get myself caught in the jam and be acute false because of the person who I am? Certain things that I know that a greater purpose led to a lot of bodies being slain. But prepared all the countless hearses. I represent a hero, so listening to build up the light to unite. Please don't you give up.
Alright, let me start that one right back. Let me start that one back from the top.
Feelings, that's what my mind's saying. But I hit up.
Kind of fast forwarded by mistake.
Can't
Alright,
rely
here we go.
on what I hate, I think. Yo,
Here we
shit.
go. Here we go.
I'ma do me. Can't rely on what I hate, I think. Let's go. Living my mind from a dead state. It's time to celebrate. Sit back and ventilate, just like going on a dinner date. Whoa, like an airplane taking off with this hit. Yo, the speed is real lit. I hope I can make you visualize and feel this. They send me back to a time when MCs spar with those lines, when music was sparkling there in the borderline. I'ma shine without even trying because of the get together way I put it together. Shoot for the look like you was online. Tongue wrestling about to lose your grip. They go on to get you, but you better not slip. Check it, but I don't even have no time for that. I'd rather make moves instead of great minds, so I can definitely track the kind of things that emold your life to get right. The road is down, so stay focused like riding on a motorbike. I know you like this, so just don't fight this. I'ma give you wisdom, so please go ahead and bite this. I'm so confused when critics try to vote me out without a doubt, but they change their mind when they hear the words that come out this lines now. I can't change the person who I am, the way I think, how hard I go for the fam. All I know, I was put on this plan for a purpose, so why even get myself caught in the jam and be acute false because of the person who I am? Certain things that I know that a greater purpose led to a lot of bodies being slain. But prepared all the countless hearses. I represent a hero, so listening to build up the light to unite. Please don't you give up your feelings. That's what my mind's saying. But I hear those minds scheming and praying like I can't repeat what they saying, speaking in close conversation. I see it like this. If you're so bold to throw shade, why not promote gratitude? Why not mention the person that not get paid? Hey, we the same people at the end of the day. All we gotta do is synchronize this one. We all wrong for far down to have no perspective fade away. I appreciate the fact just to be alive and maybe reflect about all the small tries. I rely on visions that I picture in my long time. To manifest this way, I don't have an artificial clone mind. I climb to the dome, stepping up my spine, similar to Jacob ladder. You must use your metaphysical eyes to see between the reality of metaphorical storylines. Ride to the occasion like a sea's boat. The weight can't be so long, the pressure can't take no more. It's about to blow, so watch me grow. I'm just keeping it true. I'm dedicated to you, so I ain't no time to play. I'm just keeping it true. I'm dedicated to you, so I ain't no time to play. I'm just keeping it true. I'm dedicated to you, so I ain't no time to play.
All right. All right. Welcome back. You know what I'm saying? Here with your boy, Akashic Troops, aka Solomon. I mean Samurai Bay. Excuse me. But anyways, moving forward, I'm coming with a lesson called "The Light That Is Not," coming out of the book uh, Night Nightside of Eden, and we about to get into it. All right, so let's go. All right. According to occult lore, cosmic consciousness manifests in humanity as sentence which concentrates itself into an individual center of awareness and splits into subject and object. Subject identifies itself with the conscious principle as ego, and object is mechanism of awareness. This identification of consciousness with ego is illusionary, illusionary, and thereby the principle of consciousness is veiled. All right, follow me. The ego imagines itself to be an entity discrete from the objects which it senses, and instead of pure feeling, hearing, seeing, tasting, knowing, there is the false assumption that I feel, I hear, I see, I taste, I know. So he's just talking about the senses, you know what I'm saying? Of the ego, how it imagines itself, and how it operates as an entity and goes into the senses and the things that it should be doing is you know is giving you a brief description. All right, it is thus that the phenomenal world, the world of appearances, is represented to us as Makal. All right, so let's look up the word Makal. Makal is a Hebrew term meaning kingdom. It represents the 10th seraph on the Kabbalistic tree of life associated with the physical world and material existence. Makaf is often seen as the manifestation of the divine in the earthly realm, symbolizing the connection between the spiritual and the physical. So basically, that's what it's going into. Just meaning kingdom. It's this 10 seraph on the Kabbalah tree, and is the physical world and the material existence, and it manifests as symbolizing the connection between the spiritual and the physical. So that's just a brief description of what the word means. All right, let's get back into it. The entire process from Kether to Makal is one of successive veiling accompanied by an increasing loss of awareness of the principle of consciousness. The whole purpose of incarnation being the redemption and reintegration of the lost principle. All right, Buddhists and Abhayantins. Abhayantins. So let's look at the word Abhayantins. Advaitins. Basically, it's people who embrace the Vedanta and non-dualistic philosophical tradition rooted in the Upshaws and systemized by Adi Shankaracharya, 8th century CE. Right. So starting back from the beginning, Buddhists and Abhayans regard these veils as wholly illusionary, while others regard them as modifications of the original principle. In whichever light they are regarded, the problem remains unchanged: how to solve the perpetual game of hide and seek, which Keither plays through the primary veils of subject and object, Chakma and Bina, the nexus of which is located in Daya, which is another word for death. The cause of the mystery, glamour, or ignorance, as the Buddhists call it, is the initial and mistaken identification of self, which is object. This is caused mainly by the fact that, as the Kabbalists claim, Keither is in Makath and Makath is in Keither, but after a different manner. All right, jump back into it. The presence of Keither in Makath creates an illusion of reality in all objects. This glamour engenders sentence which bewilders and drowns the self in delusion. Suri Ramakrishna composed and sang many hymns of surpassing beauty to this world bewitching Maya, or magic play of glamour and illusion, generates in the sense of humanity which mistakes the unreal for the real. So it's just give you a separation of the illusion from the real world. All right. Keither is the focus of cosmic consciousness, and its first manifestation is light. The AN, which is its source, is not darkness but absent of light, and therefore the truth essence of light. Keither is the infestimal point in space-time at which absence of light becomes its present by turning the void inside out. Keither in the resulting tree of life may therefore be convinced as the interior of the void, manifesting in space, which is the mainstream of light. In the cosm, microcosm, this light manifests as the light of consciousness that illuminates form. So basically, you looking at me, I'm a form, and I can basically just be illuminated light, like I'm doing right now through this teaching. All right. In the microcosm, this light manifests as the light of consciousness that illuminates form. It is the light by which and in which a thought can be visualized in the darkness of the mind. As dreams appear in the darkness of sleep, in the celestial sphere, consciousness manifests a physical light, the sun. In the mineral kingdom, it manifests as gold. Biologically considered, it is the phallus which uh, perpetrates the seed of light consciousness in the animal kingdom. These lights are one light, ether, and they proceed from a infinite absence of light, am. As it pours through ether, it is split into three rays, which form the three supernal branches of the tree. These have three pylons: Chakma, Dioth, and Benna, thus concentrating 16 colors, which with their reflection in the world of antimatter, the AN constitutes the 32 paths of colors of the tree of life. All right. So yeah, it's basically giving you the highways of the tree, the and how it functions. All right. Darkness is absence of light, an absence that makes possible the presence of all that appears to be, none being of which the symbol is darkness, is the source of being, and between these two terminals is a solution, D content, represented by the abyss, which separate the numinal world of Kether with its twin terminals from the phenomenal world of Makal, or Makoth, pronounce it either way. The precise point of this continuum is marked by the pylon of Daoth in the midst of the abyss. Daoth is knowledge of the phenomenal world reflected downward through the tunnels of Set at the back of the tree. So let's talk about the tree. Like you being the representation of the tree. Like this is the front side. This is where the sun shines the most at. Then you got to think about the back side, which is the part that you don't see. You know, when they talk about the alchemical process of climbing up the Jacob ladder all the way up to the tree of life, the eternal life, or just the kingdom, basically. All right. So jump back. This knowledge or day off is the death of the self. It represents the primary stage at which the segments are woven about the mummy that enters a menta in the desert of Set. It appears on the front of the tree as the apparently living semblance of the ego with which it identifies itself on its gradual descent into matter. McCall. Its awakening to mundane consciousness is in reality a sleep and a death from which the original principle of consciousness may be salvaged only by traveling the paths of menta in reverse. So let's look up that word, because this is the second time I ran into the word of menta. Menta in ancient Egyptian thought often used to refer to the underworld or the land of the dead. realm west of the Nile, where the sun sets. It's associated with the journey of the soul, Osiris, and the afterlife, the nightly path of the sun god Ra. So basically, this is what it's talking about: the nightly path of the sun, Ra going down into the abyss, and then you know what I'm saying, rising back up to its original point. So let's get back into it. Backwards journey through the tunnels of Set commenced and the Tuat, the preliminary passage or 30-second path that leads back from Makoth mundane consciousness to the astral spirits of Yesod. So Yesod is the ninth seraphim on the tree of life. It acts as a bridge or a conduit between the higher spiritual realms and the physical worlds. So basically, that's what that word means. All right. Oriental traditions have typified this descent of consciousness in terms of the three states of sushti, suhupti, sleeping. These words here I ain't never. SVAPNA, dreamy, and Jagrat, wakeful consciousness, and their reintegration in a fourth state, Turaya, which is not literally a state at all, but the substranium of the other three and the only real element in those three. Uh, Turaya equates with Kether, undifferentiated, undifferent. These words here, man, like the words that they use are sort of like old, like the way they spell it is not the same as undifferentiate consciousness equates with Dayop, with Yasa and Jagrat with Makoth. All right, this scheme matches the Kabbalistic doctrine. The state of deep and dreamless sleep is a state in which mind is not conscious of the objective or the phenomenal universe. It is void in the sense that it is empty of thought, images, and dark in the sense that within its light is absent. All right. Subtlety merges into swapana, swipe. I can't say that word. SVAPNA, the state of subjective objectivity or dreaming, because Kether creates in the void. Shushpati, a stress that manifests as vibration. This stress is mirrored in the dream world. Yasad as sentence latent in the microcosmic power zone chakras. Yeah, so those are your power zones, the seven discs, in which it assumes elemental power, forms of ether, fire, air, water, and earth. Uh, in other words, this vibration manifests as the sixth sense, which in turn are projected as objective phenomena in the wakeful state. Jagrat McCarth. In this manner, one state or world of consciousness merges into another. So those are two worlds, just like on how you see on the two pillars, Jokin and Boaz, and it's just showing you like that's the representation of it. The two worlds merges together, as one. In this manner, the world of the name. Let me see. All right. In this manner, one state or world of consciousness merges into another. Similarity, one state or level of cosmic consciousness develops and evolves into another until the original principle of consciousness is objectified with increasing density. In this manner, the world of name and form appears to the ego the pseudo subject as reality, which is actual fact. Reality withdraws as the principle of consciousness recedes and returns to the point of its original absence. So, yeah, basically, when I was telling you how the sun, the cycle that it goes through, when it goes down into the abyss and then it comes back up through, that process. And then, so once you get back to your peak, you right back, you know, illuminated because that's the highest point of consciousness. All right. They are as the ego is the shadow Shakti or veiling power of Kether at the lightning swift moment of its bifurcation into Chakma subject and Bina object. The ego is a shadow, but it is the shadow of reality. It is impossible to express this concept in the language of duality. Reality is non-being, and the ego is the reflection or reverse of reality in the waters of the abyss. But not only is the image reversed, it is also inverted. So follow me here, you see where it's going. All right. In terms of the Draconian tradition, the ego is the mirage that appears in the desert of Set. The exaltation of the ego is Dea, and it claims to be the crown. So, talking about the crown, is the blasphemy against Godhead, and those that set up this false idol have been called the Black Brothers. By this act, they banish themselves to the desert set for the duration of an aeon, or if profoundly committed to the adverse hierarchy, uh, hierarchy, they may maintain the shadow of sovereignty for an aeon and an aeon and an aeon, an entire kapha or a great cycle of time. The false king endures until the kapha is terminated by a Laya. Such black brothers should not, however, be confused with the black brothers whose idol is not the ego, but a certain secret head of a truly adverse hierarchy that resumes all the 777 path at the back of the tree. Eliphaz Levi hint at the hierarchy in terms of black magic and of the Baphometic head alike with the surfer of hell and a door of the Templar. So this is all this is just some symbolic attributes. So not to get it, to get it confused with anything you may see as shining or whatever. Just keep following. Keep following. Is gonna go into it. Another adept who had a glimmering of this negative hierarchy was H.P. Blavatsky, yet her gargantuan struggle to draw through the veil some intimidation of its dark mysteries ended only in the massive confusion of her two monumental works. Perhaps the Isis she sought to unveil was not the Isis of nature manifested in manner, but the new Isis of the unnatural, of the antimatter with its void of being and black holes in space. Before exploring the tunnels of Set, we have to establish the fact that the mysteries of non-being, although not interpreted in ancient times in the way in which we interpret them today, were nonetheless regarded as possessing a significance that was both vital and menacing. This is the more surprising since it is only within the past 50 or so years that these obscure matters have been illuminated by astonishing discoveries in the realms of nuclear and subnuclear physics and physiology, none of which have been demonstrated scientifically, which Kabbalistic doctrine was being evolved. Yet another adept of recent times, Salvador Dali, has suggested by the dark absence that appears abruptly in some of his paintings the doctrine of non-being, of the negative, of the nominal that is reality underlying phenomenal existence. Although there is a solution of continually between the two worlds represented by the front and the back of the tree, there is but one uh, copula, and as resides in a peculiar function of the sexuality. It is not a bridge in any positive sense, and therefore it may not be described, but it may be uh, adumbrated by the analogy of a lightning flashing between invisible electrodes of positive and negative energy. Positive and negative energy. So light is positive, negative is minus. The interior dimensions of non-being can be illuminated by the blinding radiance liberated by sexual energy discharged in connection with certain techniques of Typhonian magic, in which uh, conceptual energy is seized by the most tenuous tentacles of consciousness, and it steeps through the veil of the void from the trans platonic eye, and beyond Keither. All right, just keep following here. It's going into it step by step and kind of it's getting deeper. You know what I'm saying? But it's gonna start making sense as it goes on. The book of Dazian, the book of the law, and the Thelemic holy books, all of which have been made available during the past century, contain magical formula that have been used from time immemorial, but there is as yet no adequate commentary to any of them. For both Levinsky and Crowley advance as they undoubtedly were circumcised by basically old aeon attitude to the void. Crowley, perhaps by virtue of a conscious identification with the draconian current through the mysteries of the number 666, had intuitively grasped the possibility of an antichrist and an anti-spirit, although he could not. It seems confront the idea of the anti-logos. This is it. This is evidenced by the horror which with which he referred to the aeon that has no word, an aeon yet to come, to which he ascribes the letter Zion. One adept, only to my knowledge, was allowed to the fact that Crowley had not uttered a word because, being identified with the beast, he was incapable of formulating it. Getting into the meat and potatoes now. All right. But reversion to inaccurately and the still in capacity to utter a word does not explain Crowley's failure with which was rooted in his inability to fathom the timeless dimension where the venerable, venerable anti-word, anti-Christ truly obtained. An examination of Diane's fortunes version of the cosmic doctrine reveals a similar reluctance or perhaps a genuine inability to see the issue, which is that the magic of light concerns neither white nor black magic, but an occult current that, as Austin Spear correctly assumed, vibrates in the space between in the intersees, so to speak, spiritual spacelessness that exists in a necessity timeless void beyond or somewhat outside the tree. If they are the number of which is 11, all right, there's a shirt I created on my website. Go check it out. It's called the Garden of Eden /Eve, and it got the symbolism on there. But I came up with this idea before I even ran into this book. Somehow I was led through spirit, and when I read this, I said, "Damn, that just was confirmation, let me know that I had the right information." So moving along, If they are the number of which is 11, be counted in with the remaining four seraphim of the middle pillar, the number 37 is obtained. This is a prime number signifying the full manifestation of the magical current symbolized by Set or Shaitan. So it's spelled Shaitan. Let's see. Okay, hold on. I think I spelled that slightly incorrect. Slightly. Gotta put one AI. TAN. I spelled the Shaitan. It's supposed to be spelled Shaitan. All right, it basically refers to an evil being, often translated as devil or demon, a member of an unbelieving class of jinns who oppose divine guidance, a temper who whispers evil suggestions into humans' hearts, but has no real power beyond persuasion. All right, so basically that's all that is. All right, let's get back into it. That which was known to the Kabbalists as the tree of death was in fact the other side of the tree of life, and the Qualoth were demonic forces, the anti-powers concealed in the tunnels of Set that formed the interior network and reverse reflection of the paths. The celebration Kabbalist Isaac Luria, 1534 through 1572, composed the following lines, which Gershom Shalom describes as an exorcism of the innocent dogs, the insolent dogs, the power of the other side. The insolent dogs are, in a very special sense, the dogs of reason. They are mentioned in Al chapter 2, verse 27. The description of the dog to the infernal realms derives from Egypt, where the jackal or desert fox is the uh, typical denizen of the abyss, both these animals being total set. So basically, going to the hieroglyphs and like the illustrations of certain attributes being displayed. Uh, the symbolism illuminates chapter 2, verse 19 is a God to live in a dog? No, but the highest are of us. Dog, which is the word God in reverse, indicates the pylon of Daok, through which the dog of reason enters the abyss and persuades a God is not to live in a dog, but the highest are of us. The highest is the height represented by the eight head of the serpent that dwells in the abyss. The highest are of us, implying that there are three others, the supernal or highest triad of the tree, consisting of Kether, Chokma, and Baina, together with the eight or height. These three form 11. All right. So that's a very important number, uh, which means going back illumination. Um, the goddess knew it, who is not, proclaims chapter 1, verse 60. My number is 11, as all their numbers who are of us. These words supply the key to the mystery of the eight and the three, or the one and the three. For the serpent is one, although it has eight heads. 11 is the number of magic or energy tending to change, and it is at the pylon of the Daoth that the death or magical change occurs. So basically, just talking about the alchemical process that takes form in the lower parts of your, the lower depths of the temple. Um, Dale is the only point in the tree that gives access to the world of Nuat. Not the word us in both verses is Kabbalic listically equal to 66, which is the mystic number of the Quolof and of the great work. Here then is a key to the real meaning of the Quolof, which has eluded Kabbalists and occultists alike, for few have fathomed the function of the Quolof in relation to the great work. But when it is realized that the world of shells comprises the reverse side of the tree, it is possible to understand why it has been regarded as wholly evil. The Quolof are not only the shells of the dead, but more importantly, they are the anti forces behind the tree and the negative um, substranium that underlies all positive life. As in the case of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the title of which signifies its precise opposite. So, excuse me, slow down. So also the Jewish tree of death is the nominal source of phenomenal existence. It is the latter that is false, for the phenomenal world is the world of appearances, as its names implies. The numeral source alone is because it is not. Once the truth is grasped, it becomes evident that the ancient myths of evil, with their demonic and terrifying uh, paraphernalia of death, hell, and the devil, are disordered shadows of the great void, the Aeon, which precisely hunt the human mind. So all this it takes place within, because it's a process, and when certain things are not functioning properly, then these certain things occur in the place of that. Um, these mysteries are explained in Kabbalistic terms by the number 66, which is the sum of the series of numbers from 1 to 11. 66 is the number of the word LVL, which means to twist or go round the other side of the tree. As already noted, humanity is built for a turn around the back of the tree during the Aeon of Zion. This is the Aeon that will have no word, because it is the Aeon of the anti-locals, which will be lived in the realm of the dog, which is a symbolic way of denoting the backside of the tree. Furthermore, Zion is connected with the twin symbolism of Gemini, and a sword denoted the woman or clever is Tuan, as shown in the eighth key of the Torah. This key contains also the formula of love through polarization, for in the Aeon of Zan, humanity will have transcended the illusions of time and space, having understood the mineral basis of phenomenal consciousness. According to occult tradition, man will achieve the final initiation by fire before the final closing or withdrawal of the present Malkalpa. So basically, that's the final initiation, when the Kundalini is awakened and it starts to travel back up all the way to the dome and kiss the third eye to awaken it. But it's like, basically it's like two from opposite sides that meet and ignite the spark. So, jumping right back into it. 66 is also the number of DNHBH, the name of a city of Edom, which is the shadow of the city of the pyramids, but now in the desert of Set. This is just totally the symbolism, right? Its pylon thereof is the shrine of the sacred head, the eighth, which the Templars adore under the image of Baphomet, the god of the eightfold name. Octanamos, Octanamos. Crowley assumes the god form of Baphomet as head of the OTO 8 plus 3. The supernal triad constitutes the sacred 11, the number of those who are of us. 66 is also the number of ALHIK, which is in all these is in capital letters. So, um, which is interpreted in Deuteronomy 24 as the Lord thy God is consuming fire. It can be demonstrated that the fire is the fire snake or the Orphanian current. 66 is the number of Gilgal, which is symbolized as capital GLGL, a wheel or world. And it is instructive to note that the Hindu tradition of the chakras or wheels of force confirms the Egypto-Chaldean interpretation of the mystery of Dea. Remember back in the book Sacred Symbol Mu, when it was talking about the Chaldeans getting there, they used to have the original. They used to have the original way until they was influenced by the Egyptian way, and so they ended up changing because of the influence. Uh, right, jump right back into it. If a diagram of the tree of life be superimposed upside down upon an upright form of it, various significant facts emerge. Tifereth remains central to pivot about which we have swarmed the inverted tree, but instead of the white fire of the sun, we now have the black fire of its anti-image. And Keter has become Makoth, as if to illustrate literally the text. Keter is in Makoth, and Makoth is in Keter, but after a different manner. This different manner refers to a magical mode associated with the formula of the dog, which, to my knowledge, have been indicated in one instance only in Liber Trichogrammaton. Trichogrammaton. So this ain't nothing spooky or anything like that. This ain't nothing to be afraid of, because basically the times we're in is it's requiring all this information to come out because of the higher technology and everything else. So basically, anything you want to find out, you can ask AI. I mean, we're in the time, so it's like nothing is hidden anymore. Everybody sitting here trying to act like things are so secret, this, that. Think about it. AI, you can ask it anything, and it's not a secret. So that's common sense, food for thought. Uh, Jumping right back into it, finishing up. So, all right. This different manner refers to a magical mode associated with the formula of the dog, which, to my knowledge, has been indicated in one instant only in Liber Trichogrammaton. This book is described by Crowley as an account of the cosmic process corresponding to the Sanzas of Daisian in another system. Finally, but most significantly, Yesod now covers Yesod is the seat of the sexual forces and of the densest aspect of the electromagnetic energies of the fire snake. Well, I was just telling you about how the Kundalini, when it awakens, you got two snakes that come going opposite of the tree of life, the tree of life, which is you, all the way to the top where the apple is located, which is another symbol for the third eye, where they meet at. Um, it is the abode of Shakti and the spiritual place or center of worship of the devotees of the Shaitan set among the Yazadi. They are powered by Yasad, therefore becomes the energized word, the linga in the place of the linga for Dea equates with the um, Vishwa chakra as Yasad equates with the Malahara, the link between language represented by the word Vishuna chakra and the linga represented by the Mulahara is an obvious one because the locals is the form assumed by the linga, which is other is supreme word. The characteristic peculiar to Deav alone is that the conditions of initiation obtaining in its spirit requires the total disintent, disintegration. Damn, we got the words brushed up of the word. In other words, the Malahara meets in its anti-state in Daya, and the word remains unuttered. This in itself initiates the aeon of Zayan, which is a subjective aeon that commences if and when an adept leaves the void behind the tree. This is the great word implied by the formula of Viparita as typified by the reverse of the tree. All right, and that's it on my lesson for the day. We started on page 23, ended on page 33. What a coincidence! So, you know, um, with that, we ended off with my song.
Yeah, I'm about to get to him. Yeah, I just get to him. I'm about to really do him. Yeah, I just get to him. I'm about to get to him. Yeah, I just get to him. I'm about to really do him. Yeah, they tell me doing me in the time of truth. Speaking of power as I come through, collecting all that's due. Straight grinding, cause all I see is the top. Staying focused, while motivated, just grinding, don't stop. Yeah, I'm already high as I walk through the fire. Looking for ways to step up more, higher and higher. Things I desire. We're going all the way down to the ride. Hearing myself being called on like a messiah. No, it ain't a lie. Because then I'm with my heart desire. When I'm living me as a king, but you see why they acting so fine. Rise up in the morning, moving like King Tut. Right. That's a king place when you open a whole life of blood. You on the bus. Ain't no less than all out we trust. On dead, live on dead. Combining us, my people switch here. It's love, so ain't no need to trust. Unless it's love, we hush and listen to the heart of you. The family crest is how I show my pedigree. I keep it funky like the air you breathe. While I pull up my sleeve to clear out all of the debris. Staying down for all of my family, my tribe. While moving with the pin sharp focus to unlock what been hidden inside. So tell me why they can't respect this hustle, fam. Like the wisdom is spoke to bring us up to another level. Then reversing the curses of hell. Yo, I scram. I just gave it to him. I done served it to him. Well, I done done it to him. Yeah, I just did it to him. Yeah, I just gave it to him. Well, I done served it to him. Well, I done did it to him. I just did it to him. Yeah. Yeah. What? 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 What?
All right, peace.